The world is certainly getting better every day at technology based on gesture. Because it's very intuitive, easy to use, and clearly makes the interaction with gadgets and things around us futuristic and fancy. So, just to be on the trend, we'll be taking the watch we built in the previous video and plunge in some ML and see if we can turn on and turn off the home appliances around us using some cool hand gestures. Even though it might not be as cool as Mr. Stark playing around with the salograms, it's still pretty dope to turn on your gadgets with gestures. So without any further delay, let's get started. Before starting, I have to say that we have reached 5,000 subscribers, and honestly, thank you to all the folks out there supporting my videos. These videos wouldn't be possible without a platform like this and audiences like you all. So again, thank you to all the folks out there supporting my videos. Now let's see what are the additional features I have added and some implementation that have terribly failed because of me being so ignorant. Let's see the things at which I failed so you don't have to make the same mistake again. First, I needed a micro USB port for charging the LiPo battery so I could charge the watch easily. And it's pretty easy to implement using TP4056, and I have used them in the past, but when I tried designing my own TP4056 IC in KiCad, I made a terrible design mistake where I flipped the pin numbers on the right side of the IC, which is very terrible. And I didn't even notice it until the testing part. So this made my charging circuit fail completely. Here comes the second mistake. It was not on the PCB design, rather the way I was thinking to implement the feature. Press and hold to turn on and turn off the circuit. Usually people use MOSFET and transistor to implement this, but I thought of using LDS3985 voltage regulator and its enable pin. So I can reduce the number of components, but it turns out that the voltage doesn't rise instantly to 3.3 volt as soon as I pull the enable pin high. Instead, it takes some time to slowly raise to 3.3 volt. It might not sound bad, but when you do this with ESP8266, it goes into programming mode because this messes up the reference voltage to some of the pins on ESP8266 during its boot. Other than these two problems, everything worked like a charm, at least while making this video. So for this version, I dropped these features along with the heart rate monitoring because that made the watch very bulky and uncomfortable to wear, and I couldn't get it to work accurately. But you know, I'm extremely kind-hearted and I feel extremely bad to disappoint my viewers by not implementing the new hardware features. So I had to step up my game on the software part. So I thought about adding some ML to the project. It should be easy compared to electronics. It's just a bunch of codes that we have to copy and paste from Stack Overflow. At least that's what I thought. So I just jumped headfirst on implementing a ML based gesture detection. Oh boy, I was so wrong. It was just I hated it. Not because it was complicated, it was just so frustrating collecting the data and training the model. It was like teaching a little puppy how not to poop on the bed. Anyway, except that implementing the ML on the watch was not comparatively hard. I'll drop two links in the description because they have just explained so well on how to implement ML and AI in microcontrollers. One explains how to use TinyML using TensorFlow and other by using a very simple and basic ML algorithm. I went to the latter one because it's very simple for me to explain as well as it works with very low memory resource microcontrollers like Arduino Nano and Uno. Let's end the story here and get to the build. Assembly. This time the assembly must be very simple and quick because of the printed circuit boards. For this, I thank PCBWay for sponsoring this gorgeous black PCBs for this video. If you need a custom PCBs for your project, they offer 10 custom PCBs for as low as $5 and a variety of customization that you can choose for your PCB, like the color of the solder mask, silk layer and surface finish. And on your first order you get a coupon of $5, so check out their website right away. I gathered all the assembly components for the project, then arranged them in a place where I can easily access without messing around. was difficult for me to find the right regulator to use for the project, so in my past videos, I used ASM1117 because it's much cheaper and easy to find. In order to make this project much more efficient than the previous builds, I have given two options in the PCB. You can either use MCP1700 or LSD3985. In my case, I'm using the LSD3985 and ignoring the MCP1700. You can also see I tried to fix the mistake for the press and hold to power on by using small jumpers. I'll make sure I'll update the schematics in my GitHub repo. To make the programming simple, I've given up some space on the PCB so you can just plug in the FDTI module and start programming. To program, all you have to do is just hold the button which is connected to GPIO pin 0 of the ESP8266 when connecting to the PC. Now to see if the circuit is working or not, I'm just going to upload the code from my previous video. Since the hardware is working as expected, let's dive into the software part. Machine learning sounds fancy and complicated, but trust me, few algorithms in ML are more intuitive to understand than few other non-ML based algorithms. For most algorithms, when it needs to find an answer to a question, we need to tell the algorithm the sequence of the process that it has to perform to get to the end result. Simple example would be multiplication. If we want to find the answer to a multiplication problem, let's say 2 times 5, we have to just tell the computer to perform multiple additions of 5 to get to the answer. You can see here, we are telling the computer what to do to get the answer. Whereas in ML, we just give the computer a bunch of questions and corresponding answers and ask the computer to figure out the way or the process so that it can answer any new questions without programming the process manually. Take an example of finding an apple in a photograph. It's super easy for a human to do, but it's pretty hard for us to code and make the computer understand all the features that an apple has. It's not impossible, but it's super hard. Now instead, we can write an algorithm which can learn by itself just looking at thousands of pictures of apples. But what is the point of doing so? It's still pretty tedious to give 1,000 pictures of an apple as an input. The interesting part about this ML algorithm is that they may even come up with a new way to find apples in the photograph that we might not even think about. So most of the times, ML based algorithms can outperform the non-ML based hard-coded algorithms. Before moving further, let me clarify something. I'm not really the best person to explain machine learning and artificial intelligence. I'm just telling what I know. So I have put a bunch of references in the description where you can learn more about it. But if you are into the video for this long and you haven't subscribed to the channel, probably you should do it right now. Trust me, it's definitely worth it. At least for me. Now back to the topic. There are so many techniques in machine learning. And to make the gesture detection, we'll be using one of the techniques called classification. Why classification? Let me show the accelerometer and gyroscope data in the serial plotter of the Arduino IDE. You can see the data seems predictable by human eyes after I do the motion for quite a while. Now if I do the same motion off the screen, you can still guess what I'm doing by just looking at the graph. And the best part is, you can even do this for other gestures and motion. That's because our brain assigns different names to these different patterns. Similarly, we can show this data pattern to the ML algorithm multiple times. Then it tries to understand this data and puts them in different groups, or to be fancy, you can say the algorithm classifies the data sample into different classes. So next time when it sees a similar pattern in the data, it will figure out what kind of motion or gesture it is. This is the reason why we need to do classification. Now again, there are so many ways we can do this classification with the different algorithms. I chose random forest. Why? To be honest, I just picked it. It just sounds mysterious and cool. If you're serious about this project, you should probably do a little more research on which algorithm is best for gesture detection. And if you already have a very good experience in the field of ML and AI, I'd be so glad if you could comment which is the best one to use. Now the algorithm is figured out. Now all I have to do is just collect the data by doing the motion. The tutorial I was following had a very clumsy way of collecting the data through the serial monitor. It would be very hard for me to do the same because I had to wear the device on my wrist. To solve this problem, I had to make the data collection wireless. So I decided to use the flash memory inside the ESP8266. And for more convenience, I displayed the status of the collection and saving the data in the OLED display. Once the code was done, I uploaded it to the watch. Keep your hands still so that the device can calibrate the accelerometer and the gyroscope initially. Once that's done, you can start collecting the data. Just press the button once and the device would create a new feature. Then just start moving your hands to record the motion. The effort to make the data collection wireless was definitely worth it. It was so much easier to collect each motion around 25 to 30 times without a problem. You can now dump all the collected data to the serial monitor. Just power off the circuit and connect the FDTI module. Then press the program button again. This will dump all the data to the serial monitor. Then just copy this into a text file. Here each motion will be divided by 6 asterisks, so you will know which data is related to which motion. Then divide the text files into 3 CSV files. I'm doing it for left swipe gesture, right swipe gesture and slam gesture. This completes the data collection part. This data shouldn't be directly used. It has to be processed to remove some noise so the algorithm can predict more accurately. But I'm not doing any of those because of my laziness. I'm just skipping all this and jumping straight into the training part. Before moving on, I have to tell you something. That all the codes and the circuit diagrams related to this video will be available on my GitHub, for which the link will be given in the description. Once you downloaded the repo, you will find a file called classifier inside Python training code. This code will read the CSV file and train the model to learn the gesture we recorded before. After running this code, a model.h file will be created. This file contains the trained models to identify the 3 gestures that we captured. Now if you would like to just test the model, paste your model.h file inside the testing gesture detection folder and open the Arduino file inside the folder. Then upload this code to your watch. Now just make the gesture and the OLED display should say what gesture you are performing. In my case, the model works 95% of the time. Sometimes it suffers to find the right swipe gesture. Probably the data I collected was noisy, or maybe I wasn't doing the motion right while collecting the data. Anyhow, 95% is still pretty good for me. By the way, it's not done yet. We still have a lot more to go to complete this project. So I think we'll probably stop the video right here and see how to implement the home automation part on the next part of the video. Because it's already getting a bit too long and my audience retention rate is quite terrible. Maybe it's because of the quite annoying audio I play as the background. If you want me to keep doing such videos, sharing this with your friends would be great. And honestly, I wouldn't mind if you like my videos from your secondary account. Oh, finally, if you like the video, click the like button, and any questions or suggestions regarding this video, make sure you ask them in the comment section. So see you next time.